All right, thanks for tuning in. So some of the parts have started coming in. Here is the OEM Z06 front bumper or nose guard. Received that from GM. This is the bracket for the front grille that mounts in there. This is the front grille. And these are Z06 and Grand Sport specific parts, different from the base model. You see how this fits into the bracket, which mounts to the front bumper. Here are some brackets. These brackets attach the front bumper to the fenders and sandwiches them together. And this is a two-piece bracket. You have this part that has the two studs, which goes into the other part of the bracket, the lower part of the bracket. Some of these parts are getting difficult to source from GM. We got some LED blackout side marker lights, smoked. And here is the front lip. This is a hydro dipped front lip. It's not real carbon fiber, but it's got a real nice carbon fiber print. And since these break often, I didn't want to spend the extra money for the real carbon fiber. It's just going to get chipped up anyway. For the rear spoiler, we have an Innovative Automotive Creations rear spoiler. They call this the C6.5 rear spoiler, which is C7 replica rear spoiler. Right, so now while we wait for some of the other parts to come in, the fenders and the quarters, we're going to start installing some of these other parts. So here you see I'm getting started on installing that rear spoiler. First, I'm going to remove the taillights. Now I'm going to loosen up the bolts to remove the rear brake light. Some of these nuts were hard to get access to. You really got to put your arm all the way in there. Don't knock the license plate. Jekyll is misspelled because the correct spelling wasn't available. I thought it was perfect for this car because Mr. Hyde really comes out once you go over 3,000 RPM. Next, I'm going to test fit this rear spoiler, see how everything lines up. Now I'm going to get ready to mark my holes, where I'm going to drill my holes for the mounting bolts. I'm just using a Sharpie to make little dots here. Now I'm going to attach the electrical connector for the rear spoiler for the brake light. Now I'm going to sit it in the place, and I'm going to attach the fasteners from underneath, from inside the tail light openings. The installation of this spoiler is probably the easiest part of this project. I did have another one of these, and I sold it to a guy that mounted it using only the 4 bolts in the center. It ended up blowing off of his car on the highway and getting destroyed. Now I can reinstall all of the taillights and then reinstall the taillight brackets that hold each of the taillights into place. I forgot to mention that these taillights are blacked out, as you can see. I got the kit from Corvette Mods when I first bought this car. The parts that cover the taillights were very thick and good quality. The rest of the kit was very thin. Ended up replacing everything with smoked LED side markers. Now is when I really start to get excited. The wide body parts have finally arrived. I got the front fenders and the rear quarters. You see they have a nice white gel coat on the outside. So now they're ready to be test fitted. First, I'm going to remove the factory front fender. Then I'm going to install the new wide body front fender, paying careful attention when I line up the seams to make sure that I don't chip or scratch anything on the car. Once it's set into place, I check the seams and make sure that everything aligns properly the way that it's supposed to, and it appears that the fitment on this kit is very good. Now we got the driver's side installed as well, and we reinstalled the front bumper. Now all these parts are just test fitted on there. Everything's going to have to come off again when the car goes to the body shop for paint. If you're interested in more in-depth videos on this project, check out our channel. I have a full series available with step-by-step instructions. So next we're going to get started on the rear quarters. First, there's a couple bolts that need to be removed from inside the rear taillight housing. Then I'm going to jack up the car. We have several pieces of hardware that we have to remove from inside the wheel well in order to get the liners removed. And then underneath the liners, there are some brackets that attach the rear quarter panel to the body of the car. Those will need to be removed as well. There's some screws across the bottom and then across the top that need to be removed. And then you have to open the door, and then there's several pieces of hardware that need to be removed from inside the door sill. Don't get overwhelmed or intimidated by this project. It's very straightforward and fairly simple to do. Then we're going to remove the rear side marker, get that out of the way. And once all those pieces of hardware are removed, we can lift the quarter panel off of the car and replace it with the new wide body quarter panel. Again, carefully aligning the seams, not to damage any of the factory parts that we're going to be keeping. You just have to push out the rear bumper just a little bit to get this to fit into place. Once we have the alignment set perfectly, everything slides together just the way that it's supposed to. Then we'll check our overall alignment and fitment and make sure that everything looks good. Here it is with everything test fitted without any of the trim pieces mounted on the rear quarter panels. So you can start to get an idea on how the car is going to look once it's complete. Next, I'm going to start working on these old faded and cracked headlight housings. So I'm going to remove the plastic and do so by warming this up in the oven. Now I'm going to replacing the glue that goes around the housing to attach the lens to the housing. Now I'm going to remove the interior trim plate from the old lens and attach it to the new lens. You can see this inside plastic still looks like new because it's been sealed. I'm going to clean out the inside of the headlight housing so we don't have any dust or debris inside. Here are the new lenses. I mounted the interior trim plate to the new lens and I attach it to the main part of the headlight housing. Then I'm just going to squeeze the edges together and make sure that glue gets a nice strong bond. Okay, so now we're preparing to reinstall the headlights with the new lenses. You can see it mounts to these 3 holes here on the inside fender liner. And voila, just like that, headlights are installed. Looking good. Now this is just a lens replacement, and that makes the headlights look like brand new headlights. And now this Corvette is ready for paint. And just like that, we're back from the body shop. Look at this thing. This thing looks great. What a beautiful job they did. Now right now, I'm using the same wheels that I had on the car before with some spacers. But I'm going to be replacing these wheels with some wheels that actually fit and I can mount without utilizing any spacers. So I'll complete this walk around of the exterior, and then I'll go ahead and I'll open up the hood, the doors, and the trunk hatch so you can see the lines and how everything lines up. The front driver's side fender. Rear quarter panel that aligns with the inside of the door sill. Side skirt, that's real carbon fiber. So the quarter panels mount to the top of the trunk. In alignment with the rear bumper. Alignment on the passenger side inside the door sill. Everything was really nice. All right, after this, we're going to install some new wheels. Let me know what you think. These are Ferrata FR3s in bronze with a black lip. Staggered sizes, 20s in the back, 19s in the front. They look amazing with the Toyo R888Rs that we installed. All right, next we're going to move to some interior upgrade. We're going to be replacing this old 2005 automatic shift knob with something a little bit more modern. I'm going to remove the trim panels and the center console to get access to the shift lever. I'm going to remove this staple that holds that shift knob into place, and then it just lifts right out. I'm going to mount up the new knob. This attaches with some set screws. It also has a mechanism that you can push down on it, just like pushing the button on the old shift knob. I've got a video on the channel dedicated to the installation of this shift knob with links on where you can purchase it with a discount. I'm going to drop a quick clip here of me driving my buddy C8 and him driving my C6 and me trying to catch up, but man, was no chance. This supercharged C6 blew the doors off of that C8. If you want to see some more in-depth how-tos on the C6 Corvette, subscribe to the channel and look at our previous videos. I have a whole series set up on this car.